Hello and welcome to the podcast. This is Ron's Amazing Stories. We have stories that should thrill you a little and chill you a little.
It's amazing.
What you'll hear are adventures sent in by you guys, classic stories from the pulp mags, and episodes from the golden age of radio. We have special segments like Ghost Stories with Sylvia.
That's amazing.
And These Are Your Stories. So settle in for the next hour and enjoy the show. One more thing. You just might want to prepare yourself to be taken away from today. Hello, and welcome to the podcast. On today's show, we have some stuff to get to. I'm going to review an Audible original story called Isaac Steele and the Forever Man. This is book 1 of the Isaac Steele Chronicles by Daniel Rigby. Then we have 2 of your stories sent in by you for you. A ghost boy hunts a pool party, and a headless woman taunts a ghost hunter. Our featured story comes from the sci-fi series X-1. A starship is lost in space. So, how do you kick this off? Well, we're going to do it with my thoughts on light versus darkness. The other day, I thought, being creative is what I do. I like to think that it brings new folks in and old listeners back.
That is true.
I have been doing it since 2011, and over the years I've done some things that have hit and some that have fell on deaf ears.
That bad, huh?
But there's always some rhyme to my reason. And this segment attempts to give some insight into how my brain works.
Alrighty then.
This time we're going to talk about my take on the eternal battle, light versus darkness, and why we need both. All right, folks, gather round the campfire, or your LED desk lamp, because we're going to tackle that age-old question, light versus darkness. Who wins? Who needs to win? And why are we even talking about this when there is a perfectly good pumpkin pie to be consumed? Let's be honest. Light gets all the good PR. It's associated with happiness, productivity, and finding that matching sock to your favorite pair. Darkness, on the other hand, gets saddled with all the spooky stuff like vampires, black cats with attitude problems, and that weird creaking noise that your house makes at 3 a.m. But hold on a sec. Before we hand the trophy to Team Sunshine, let's give darkness its due. Why darkness deserves a standing ovation. Sleep, glorious sleep. Ever tried to get a good night's rest in broad daylight? Yeah, not happening. Darkness is the ultimate sleep enabler. The cozy blanket your brain needs to shut down and dream about winning the lottery or finally telling your boss what you really think. The romance amplifier. Candlelight dinners, moonlit walks, a dimly lit theater. Need I say more? Darkness sets the mood for love, intrigue, and maybe even a little bit of mischief. The hide-and-seek champion. Let's face it, sometimes we all need a little break from the world. Darkness provides the perfect cover for those do not disturb moments. Whether you're indulging in a TV show binge or just hiding from the world in general. How about stargazing? You want to see the Milky Way in all its glory? You'll need a healthy dose of darkness for that celestial show. Light pollution? Not invited to this party. Now, let's not forget why we love light. Well, seeing where you're going, literally. Tripping over furniture in the dark is no fun. Light helps us navigate the world without breaking our necks or our favorite vase. Light is the photosynthesis powerhouse. Plants need light to grow, and we need plants to, breathe and eat. So, thank you, light, for keeping us alive and well-fed. The mood buster. Seasonal affective disorder. SAD is a real thing. Light helps regulate our circadian rhythms and keeps those winter blues at bay. Light is a germ zapper. Sunlight is a natural disinfectant. It's basically Mother Nature's way of saying, get out of here, germs.
That is true.
So, what's the verdict? It's a tie. Light and darkness are two sides of the same coin. Yin and yang, peanut butter and jelly. We need both to thrive, to experience the full spectrum of life, from the mundane to the magical. So let's embrace the light and the dark, the good and the spooky, and remember that life is all about balance. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to go find myself a dark corner and enjoy my pumpkin pie in peace. Yeah! Well, there you have my dark thoughts for this time. I hope you found them entertaining. All ideas expressed in this segment are mine and fall under the Unstable Expression Copyright Act, and therefore are subject to ridicule or praise, as the case may be. Feel free to offer any feedback and thoughts that you might have to the main website. I would love to hear what you think. Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook and a 30-day free trial at audibletrial.com/Ron's Amazing Stories. When I was growing up, I was introduced into the world of James Bond and the super secret agent. My brother would take me to all the movies, and we would read the books together. I think this is when I decided that my life would be dedicated to the story. While James was great, eventually his stories ran their course, and it appears, at least for now, Bond is truly dead. So, is it time to look for a replacement? Who can say? But I did find something brought to us by His Majesty's government, Greatest Britain, for a global universe. It is titled Isaac Steele and the Forever Man, Book 1 of the Isaac Steele Chronicles by Daniel Rigby, narrated by Daniel Rigby. This is a special Audible original. Here's a clip from the prologue of the book.
There was nothing like plummeting to your death to make you rethink your life choices. Turns out I don't have a death wish, I thought to myself, as the jagged rocks below raced up towards my face. The waterfall around me poured furiously over the black cliffs, giving me a helpful push down towards the knife-like stones. Thanks a lot, water, I thought, And then, do I have time to light a cigarette? My smalls and cigarette holder were on my belt. If it was my time, then I wanted a cheeky small. I fumbled for half a second but gave up, presuming they'd be soaked and useless. I wondered whether there'd be a memorial service at the Department of Clarification for me. I imagined Captain Davenport there laughing her head off. I considered all of the incredible things I'd miss out on that I would now never get to do, like drink myself to death. Then I thought, how tall is this waterfall? I've been thinking stuff for absolutely ages. Suddenly, the notion struck me that I might actually die bored. All of this careered through my brain in a matter of seconds before a metal hand grabbed mine, and I came to a stop with a jolt that almost took my arm out of its socket. "Please be quiet a second," said Dr. Timothy Stevens, who had somehow managed to clamber down the cliff edge on the western side of the falls and catch me. He pulled me up into a small cave, and we were immediately fired upon by Vantanavicius, who had survived me bundling him over the waterfall, which was, I'll admit, quite annoying. He was stood on a small bank where the water briefly plateaued, frothing and grabbing at his feet as if desperate to pull him back in. Just beyond him, the land gave way again, and another gigantic waterfall plummeted hundreds of feet into the endless black below. The black in question was a bottomless crevice that humans called Mr. Johnson's Void after its discoverer. The sentient beings of this planet had believed for all time it was the edge of their world. It had taken humans arriving to inform them it was just a big crevice. A bloody impressive, deadly crevice, but a crevice all the same. The wind had gone out of their sails a little. Still, crevice or not, no being had ever returned alive from Mr. Johnson's Void. Vantanavicius was trapped, and he turned his bloodied face here and there, frantically searching for an escape route. Seeing none, he leant back against a sodden boulder and unleashed a cry of all-consuming rage. He was cradling the hopelessness device, now a useless red oval baby in his arms. I got a shot at it as I jumped out of the car and grabbed him. It had taken a lot of damage, but I wasn't sure whether what I'd done was enough. You could never be sure with Vantanavicius. He might be able to fix it. He might have backups all over the discovered universe. This all might be a decoy for the real plan. I couldn't take any chances. I peered round the side of the rock wall and saw him stroking the thing fondly. This had to be the end of it had to be. The economy was ravaged because of what he'd managed to do with his new baby. Parts of my city were burning. "Give it up, Vantanavicius," I shouted. "This is over. There's nowhere to go."
"You don't even know why you're stopping me," he screamed. "I want freedom for this universe."
"You want power, you maniac, nothing else. Power and chaos are all you want," I said. Dr. Stevens was hurt. His metal legs were malfunctioning, and nasty-looking sparks spat. He held it, clearly in pain, gazing down with shining blue eyes that occasionally dimmed, which was a very bad sign indeed. We needed an extraction from this planet fast. "Are you going to die, Timothy?" I asked him. "I'm not sure," said Timothy, in a voice that suddenly glitched, alarming me. "You are not getting scrapped today, do you hear me?" I said. He nodded and closed his eyes for a second. His arms started to twitch erratically. "Vantanavicius, put the gun down and come with us," I said, peeking out again, and blasts struck the rock by my face.
"Why, Steele? Why would you stop me from liberating the beings of this universe?"
shouted Vantanavicius. "Because you're insane, mate. I've seen what you've done in the name of this freedom. You've enslaved cities with that thing. You're nothing but a psycho spreading chaos."
Did you pay attention in cosmology class, Steele? We all live in a massive explosion. That is literally what the universe is. It is order that's unnatural. You idiots in clarification are a joke. You don't know 1/1,000,000,000th that your government is responsible for.
"I know what you're responsible for. I saw those children back there, ripped from their families, burned alive if they disobeyed."
In the context of the universe, it is nothing less than a speck.
Anger overwhelmed me. "I'll show you a speck, you monster. Make my eye go big," I said, and my eye went big. I'd only have a split second, but I was hoping the magnification of Big Eye would help me find my target. I rounded the wall and fired. To my astonishment, the round hit Vantanavicius straight on the nose. His head snapped back as blood plumed from his face. The hopelessness device dropped from his arms and shattered into a million glassy pieces on the rocks below. He fell back limp into the water, and his body disappeared over the waterfall, carried down into the infinite night of Mr. Johnson's Void. I leant back against the cave wall, breathless, and still processing my incredible shot. "Is he dead?" asked Timothy in a shaky voice. "I'd say so," I said.
Well, enter into the world of Agent Isaac Steele. He has problems. He spends all his splibs on drinks and drugs. He has some deep-seated and very much unresolved issues with his parents. And his robotic partner at Greatest Britain's Department of Clarification is more ruled by his heart than his hard drive. But all these issues take a back seat when Isaac stumbles upon a case involving the most sensitive information in the cosmos. A never file, inaccessible to all except those with the very highest clearance. He is expressly forbidden to involve himself. So he naturally does, and begins an investigation that will take him across the discovered universe into the path of the mysterious Forever Man. Along the way, he'll have to contend with aliens, robots, monsters, bureaucrats, and perhaps the most deadly of all, his own numerous flaws. This book is written and narrated by award-winning author Daniel Rigby. And you may have gathered from the clip that not since The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy have listeners been offered such a joyful and insightful universe. This one is a fun ride, but I should warn you that it does contain some adult language. The story is fast-paced, well-written, and Rigby does an outstanding job telling us the story. It is complete with sound effects and some really incredible music. This one is fun and well worth your time listening to it. Now, if that appeals to you, head to audibletrial.com/Ron's Amazing Stories, and you can have Isaac Steele and the Forever Man for free. Here is what Audible has set up for us. They are offering a free audiobook and 30 days to give you the opportunity to check out the service. You can stream or download thousands of included audiobooks, podcasts, and Audible originals in the Plus catalog. There is so many things to listen to that I guarantee you're never going to run out of material. So, to download your free audiobook today, go to audibletrial.com/Ron's Amazing Stories. You're not going to regret it, and you will be helping me out as well. Thank you, Audible. And now, let's get to your stories.
These are your stories, sent by you, for you.
Our first story comes from the wild state of Nevada. Samantha Grimm sent this one in from Las Vegas and has titled it Ghost in the Pool. First off, I didn't really see it in the pool. It was afterwards, after my sister accidentally kicked me in the eye while in the pool. I decided to pull a prank on her and pretend that she had gave me a bruised eye. So I grabbed my mother's makeup palette and did the best I could to fake a black eye, and it seemed believable. I walked upstairs to the loft to where my sister and her friends were hanging out and showed her my eye. She obviously freaked out. I made her apologize before she wiped my eye and realized it was makeup. She punched me and we had a good laugh. I went downstairs to the bathroom to wash it off. As I bent over to wash my eye, in my peripheral vision I saw a small, frail boy wearing a striped shirt and boarding shorts. He had a bowl cut and was glaring at me with distorted facial features. Knowing that there were no children this young at the party, I immediately stood up, straightened up, and looked towards him. He was gone. I backed up into the corner of the bathroom and looked around the room. My heart was beating out of my chest. I ran out of the room and told my sister. After a few months had passed, I had completely forgotten about the event, and so had my sister. One evening I went to my parents' room to get a shirt that I had left there from the previous night. My parents' room and the bathroom are connected by a pair of double doors with frosted glass. just like most of the doors in our house. I found my shirt and was on my way out when I noticed 2 small handprints on one of those frosted panes. I stopped myself to have a better look at it. Each handprint was small as a child's hands. I felt shocked, but then I got shivers on every inch of my body as I remembered what had happened after that pool party not too long ago. My heart sank, and I ran to the kitchen to get some cleaning supplies and desperately tried to wipe it off. But it didn't come off at all. In fact, it made it somewhat clearer. I decided to ignore it, but it's currently still there. It creeps me out whenever I go to my parents' room, or especially the bathroom. Samantha Grimm, Las Vegas. Well, that is a story that makes you say, huh. I'm not sure what you saw, but I will say it's not normal. It's paranormal. Thank you, Sam, for sharing your story. This story comes from Oliver Marshall, who lives in Louisville, Kentucky. He has titled his story, The Night at Iroquois Park. Hey, Ron. Loved the podcast and heard you wanted some stories. I've wanted to send some in for a while, but I guess now's the time. My buddies and I go to places where urban legends and ghost stories reside. We hang out and record what we find. The hope is to have a good YouTube channel someday. We live in the Louisville area, so we recently hit up some of the major spots and decided to end it off with a trip to Iroquois Park. Now, we know all the stories, the headless woman who's supposed to appear on foggy nights, and the serial killer who ended his victims' lives there. So we pull up to the park late one night with our film and lighting equipment. We're walking on the closed road in the park, and right away we could tell that the real danger in coming here at night is the pure isolation you have on the top of the hill. While it's supposed to be a beautiful nighttime view, any Louisvillian will tell you not to go there at night. We get to the top of the hill after walking about an hour, and it's apparent that my buddies are as sketched out as I am, so we decided to do a full lap before we set up. We're about halfway through, having already heard dogs barking, seen the fog, and even smelled some burning wood. We stumble upon a point where there's a large stone wall. In the dark, it looks to us like there's a figure sitting on that wall, swaying back and forth, but much taller than your average person. I immediately get freaked out and say, on camera, I see somebody on the wall. We turn off our lights and sit for a second, trying to work out what the figure is in the dark. I start to turn around thinking, hey, this is a homeless person up to no good, but my friend decides to approach it. By the time we get to where the thing is sitting, there's nothing there. Scared the crap out of me. I'm not sure how scared my buddies were because I couldn't see their faces in the dark, but I am sure it got our hearts pumping. We do have video of this, so if you're interested, let me know. Oliver Marshall, Louisville, Kentucky. Well, Oliver, I'm not only interested, I want to see that video. Also, I decided to do a bit of research. Iroquois Park is a 739-acre park in Louisville, Kentucky. It was designed by Frederick Law Cherokee and Shawnee Parks at what was then the edge of the city. Located south of downtown, Iroquois Park was promoted to Louisville's version of Yellowstone, being incorporated in 1888. The park's most prominent feature is the scenic viewpoint atop the hill, known to many as Lookout Point. As you hike the park's winding trails on a serene, crisp night, you might start to notice the sound of a dog barking wildly. Then a thick fog will roll in from nowhere, partially obstructing your vision. It's then you smell it. The stench of smoke and fire begins to rise in the air. The fog breaks momentarily, and you notice a figure approaching you. By most accounts, she appears dressed in early 1800s settlement clothes, and as she walks through the park, you can see her holding her head in her hands as blood drips from her severed neck. Yikes. This tale has been passed on for years from one generation to the next. It's said that she's often seen very close to Lookout Point. She is the ghost of a farmer's wife who settled with her husband in the area where the park is now located. As the story goes, one night while her husband was gone, bandits attempted to sneak up on the homestead to ransack it. They first silenced the family dog, then rushed into the house and caught the woman unawares. Grabbing her as she screamed, they beheaded her and left her for dead. They promptly set fire to the house in an attempt to cover up what they had done. Now, is the headless ghost that very woman? Is she seeking justice? I wouldn't know. However, I don't recommend taking a late-night stroll through Iroquois Park. Well, that's what we have for this time. If you have a story that you want to share, like Oliver did, head to the main website at ronsamazingstories.com. Click on the story submission banner, leave your story, give it a title, and please tell me where you're from. I'll read it if I can. Our featured story comes from the OTR series X-1. It ran on NBC from 1955 to 1958. It truly was the greatest science fiction radio show of all time. Now, if you think that that's my opinion, you would be right. The producers pulled ideas for the stories from the pages of Galaxy magazine. Remarkably, all episodes of X-1 survive, and we can listen to them today. Our story first appeared in Galaxy Science Fiction in May of 1955 and was written by Frederick Poole. A tiny space rock crashes into Terra 2, causing a lot of damage and hurting the ship's navigation system. Now, the crew is floating around in the middle of nowhere, possibly millions of light years away from anything familiar. They need to do whatever it takes to stay alive. The story is titled The Mapmakers, and it first aired on X-1 on September 26, 1956.
Countdown for blast off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come transcribed tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in a million, could be years, on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, presents X minus 1. Tonight's story, The Mapmakers, by Frederick Poole.
Damage report, Mr. Bunner.
Aye, sir. 3 bulkheads penetrated in A, C, and D sections, patched in airtight.
How is Lieutenant Groden?
He isn't good. He's unconscious. His head is all bandaged up. There's a 1,000,000 to 1 chance. I don't think it's happened in 300 years. Meteoric matter hitting a ship in hyperspace.
Mr. Bonner, would you please have the air vents operated to clear the control room of kerosene fumes?
Mr. Lorch.
Aye, sir. Ciccarelli, man the vent.
I'll have a half-G spin, if you please. We can use a little gravity while we figure this out.
Aye, sir. Engine room, half-G spin for simulated gravity.
How about the Atlas?
That's the worst damage, sir. The Celestial Atlas is destroyed.
The Atlas was the only record on board of the hyperspace configurations. It's a total loss?
It's dead, sir.
Oh.
Hang on, here comes gravity spin.
What was his name?
The Atlas? Spawn. He had a sister in Seattle, I think.
Pass orders for burial at the afterlock.
I see.
And, Mr. Bonner, have all officers assemble in the wardroom for an emergency meeting as soon as we are secured for normal space.
At ease, gentlemen.
Gentlemen, we are in trouble. We are in the soup, and we're a long way from home. Bonner, would you get me a bulb of coffee, please? Now, nobody is going to come and get us out of this. We'll have to do it ourselves, if we can. Ciccarelli is trying to get us a fix. But I can tell you right now, we are not close to the solar system.
Here you are, sir.
Oh, thank you. That meteor dropped us out of hyperspace in the middle of a jump. Consequently, there isn't a constellation in the sky that you or I or anybody else ever saw before. We might be 100 light years from home, or we might be 10,000.
Well, sir, what about our records?
They went with the Atlas. We can't retrace our steps, not in hyperspace.
Sir?
Yes, what is it, Lorch?
Burial detail standing by at the afterlock.
Very well, we'll get down there in a few minutes. I'm afraid the Atlas will have to wait.
He's a mess, isn't he? Cover him up. Haven't got any respect. That's a laugh. Spawn, I mean. Look at his head. They spent 4 years stuffing it with all those equations under that hypno machine. Did you ever see him working a jump?
Oh, my jump station's engine pit 3.
There's enough to curl your hair. You know what it's like during jump. No lights, no fluorescence even, just those kerosene lamps smoking. Everything looking bent and twisted. You can't tell what you're seeing. Well, Spawn stands right up there next to the captain in a trance. And he's spouting numbers and times and equations. And all the time, his eyes are shut. He's out like a light.
He's sure out for good now.
It's funny. He never knew how to count up his pay when he was conscious. When he's out, he's as good as a 5-story computer.
I never could figure it. It's kind of creepy. Why don't they take a regular machine to do hyperspace navigating?
Well, you ought to know. You just lifted him. Spawn weighed 130, wringing wet. A computer would weigh maybe 3 or 4 tons. Ship couldn't lift it.
We got computers on board.
Yeah, electronic computers. What's the first order before jump?
Douse all electric gear.
Sure. The Terra 1 blew higher than the kite before they found that out. You don't use juice in hyperspace. Not if you want to get out of it. So you can't use a computer during a jump. That's where Spawn came in.
I can't use him in a jump anymore either.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Hey, listen. There's a brass coming to dump him. I gotta get back to my patient. Put out that cigarette and try to look solemn.
Oh.
Mr. Broderick. How is he, convoy? Not so good. I gave him 3 ampules of neomorph in the last 2 hours. That's twice the normal dosage.
Let me see.
Lieutenant Groden's the navigator, isn't he? I mean, what happens with him all cut up in the head?
The captain is a trained navigator.
Well, that doesn't do us any good in jump, does it? Not without the Atlas to do the calculating.
Look, our job down here is to keep Lieutenant Groden out of pain. We'll leave the rest to the bridge, all right?
Sorry, sir. It's just that Corelli in the chart room told me he can't locate one of those stars in his chart. And what's more...
Convoy.
Yes, sir.
Hand me that ampule.
Now hear this. Now hear this. Reporters made second-class Ackland report to the wardroom. Reporters Matt Eklund, report to wardroom.
All right, Eklund, come in.
Recorder's mate Eklund reporting, sir.
Stand at ease, Eklund. You've heard about Recorder's mate Spahn.
Yes, sir. I was with Charlie when...
Bonner, get Eklund a chair, please.
Here you are.
I'm all right, sir.
You know that Spahn's operation was essential to navigation in a jump.
No, sir. I mean, I don't know much of anything until I'm indexed.
Yes, of course. You were rated as ship's librarian log.
Yes, sir.
Spahn read his calibrations up to this point into you?
I suppose so, sir. I'm in trance when I record.
Yes, of course. Now we're going to need those records. Are you ready?
Yes, sir. The key word is index.
All right, Eklund. Index.
There she goes. Takes about 30 seconds for full trance.
Uh-huh. You know, Bonner, this is risky. Trying to backtrack on hyperspace equations by dead reckoning. A centimeter off of the figures might put us 1,000 kilometers in hyperspace. Anything up to 1,000,000 light years when we dropped back into normal. I wish that meteor had gotten me instead of the Atlas.
She's in trance, sir.
Yeah. All right, Eklund. Ship's log. Journey day 1. Jump 1.
Journey day 1. Jump 1. Normal space coordinates 345-674-65. Sub 456. Time 4356.98.
Ensign Lorch reporting on watch, sir. No maneuvering during watch, no change in operating status. I haven't made an entry for course and position, Mr. Bonner.
Just put down unknown in big letters.
Yes, sir. You didn't get anything out of Eklund?
Oh, sure. We got the absolute magnitudes and the stellar distances of half the stars in the galaxy. And a short course in the geodesics of the n-dimensional space. We didn't get a road map. What does that thermometer read?
It's all right, sir. I adjusted heat level.
What?
The welding torches had the temperature up 5 degrees, so I ordered air valved into the expansion line.
Mr. Lorch, you were bleeding air?
Well, yes, sir, to cool ship.
Lorch, you're a fool.
What?
You valve off air as though we had a whole world of it. Did it ever occur to you we might be in space a long time and we might run out of air?
But, sir, that doesn't happen. I mean...
No, not when you can jump. Not when Earth is an hour or a day away, but we can't jump. You just leave those air valves alone. We'll need every molecule.
Groden, can you hear me?
Oh.
It's Doc Broderick. Can you hear me?
Yes,
All right, don't talk. You've been hurt. A meteorite got the Atlas and something got you right across the eyes. Drops of molten metal. You're blind, at least for now.
Oh.
We can fix you up from the eye bank when we get back on Earth.
The Atlas. Dad.
We got enough problems. I've got to take the bandages off now. Can you see anything? I'm going to pass the light in front of your eyes. You tell me if you can see anything.
No. Nothing, but it hurts.
All right, convoy. Hand me that ampule.
Secure for jump, Mr. Bonner.
Secure.
Engine room. Damage aft. Damage forward. Generator stations. Radiation control. Cargo hold 1, 2, 3, 4. Men's quarters aft.
You ready, Eklund?
Yes, sir.
Have you ever been on the bridge during a jump?
No, sir.
Well, it's tricky. Your eyes lie to you. You see things that aren't there. I don't know how much you will get in trance.
Nothing, sir. I black out completely.
Oh, good.
Ship secured, sir.
Ship secured, sir.
Kill the spin.
Engine room, kill spin. Ship's company, stand by for free fall. Free fall.
Check off.
Chronometers wound and synchronized. Kerosene lamps lit. Navigator.
Aye.
Communicator.
Aye.
Atlas. I'm sorry. Ready, Eklund?
Aye.
Put her under.
Eklund. Index.
Proceed, Mr. Bonner.
Main circuit breakers open.
Main circuit breakers open.
Electricity cut. Eklund's in trance.
Well, we'll give it a try. Now, Bonner, backtrack on our jumps.
Yeah, maybe it'll work out.
Maybe. Stand by to jump.
Stand by to jump.
Stand by to jump.
We'll go when she's straight up. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Jump.
Convoy, where are you? Over here, I can't see you. Feel your way over to Broden. Everything's green. Give me the hypo. Come on, man, you've been in the jump before. Here's the ampule, sir. Not the pressure hypo. We can't use current in jump as for range.
Broden, it's all right. We're in jump, that's all.
My eyes! My eyes! My eyes!
Deal. What's the use? You can't use the money even if you win.
What are you trying to do, chicken out?
Corelli says they got a fix after the jump.
What are we worried about? Deal.
They got a fix, all right. 15,000 light years from Sol.
Shuffle.
He says that's the way it is in hyperspace. Distances haven't got anything to do with anything unless you can navigate when you're in jump, and we can't.
Hey, when did Lorch make his rounds?
Why?
I'm going to take off my jumper. It's hot.
Yeah, and it's going to get hotter. Every time the jets blast, every time the cook fries an egg, the ship gets just a little hotter.
Don't mention it.
Every time the jump generators turn over, every time you light a match, that gets us hotter and hotter. Hey, what are you doing?
I'm taking off my skivvy shirt. Deal.
How is he, Mr. Broderick?
You can tell the captain that Lieutenant Groden remains unimproved.
How is he really?
He's working up to some real damage. The kind I can't handle. It's in his head. I had to tell him his sight was gone, unless we can get back to an eye bank within 10 days. You can patch in an eye, but once the nerve has deteriorated, you can't replace it.
Did he take it hard?
Worse? Worse. He didn't say a word. I know that man is in pain. The convoy found his pills hidden under his pillow. He wouldn't take them. He just lay there without a sound until we went into the jump. Then he screamed his head off.
What's wrong with him?
Who knows? If I had an electroencephaloscope on board, but I'm lucky they let me have a mini X-ray.
Yeah, what did doctors do before they had those gadgets? Shoot the patients?
No. With luck, I could run an old-fashioned verbal psychoanalysis on him. I might pick something significant out of the sludge. Maybe 5 or 6 months. That's what they did before they had the EES. What time is it?
07:56.
I've got sick call in 20 minutes. Heat exhaustion, dizzy spells, skin rashes. I'm running out of aspirin and salt tablets.
Yeah. Bonner had me with a 10-man detail defluffing the filter traps on the air circulators. It's a lucky thing spaceships aren't painted. They'd have us chipping paint.
Now hear this. Mr. Broderick, report to the bridge. Mr. Broderick, report to the bridge.
How am I supposed to do that? I got 2 corpsmen down with heat prostration.
I'll look after Groden, Mr. Broderick. Maybe I could give him an alcohol rub?
Thanks, Lodge. Oh, by the way, that alcohol.
Yes?
It's denatured.
Here's the problem, Mr. Broderick. We have fuel for just under 40 minutes of rocket blast at standard thrust. That will bring our overall temperature up to 60 degrees centigrade. That's the maximum the human body can stand, right?
Mm-hmm. That's about 140 Fahrenheit. Well, it hits that on Earth in a couple of places around the Dead Sea. But it isn't sustained heat. It drops considerably after dark.
We'll hope we find ourselves out of this before we hit 60 degrees. If we don't, at least we won't starve or suffocate. All right, gentlemen. Mr. Broderick, you can prepare for increasing heat casualties as we proceed.
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Bonner. Secure for jump.
My eyes. My eyes.
Now take it easy, Groden. Convoy! Convoy!
Yes, sir.
Where's the doctor?
He stayed on the bridge with the jump.
Well, what do we do for Groden? During the jump, I can't even see him.
I don't think he can hurt himself. We better just wait till the jump's over. My eyes. They lied. They lied to me. They lied. I can see it. The master pattern. I can see it. No, not like seeing, like knowing. That's Lorch. And Roderick's on the bridge. And the captain. And Earth. And the sun. I can see them. Unbuckle the straps. I've got to get up to the bridge. The jump is almost over. I'll be blind again. If Lorch sees me, he'll think it's jump hallucinations. They're lost. But I'm not. I can see the whole universe. I can see.
Jump completed. Secure to normal space.
Groden, come back here. Now, what are you doing out in the passage? Convoy! Sir? Come on, give me a hand. Now, how did he get out here and jump? He's blind.
Navigation report negative, sir.
Is there a fix?
No, sir. Corelli thinks you can get a triangulation on an extragalactic nebula. That'll take time.
Well, what's the temperature?
45.
We don't have time. We'll have to keep on. If we don't end up within a light year of Sol, we're cooked. Literally. So at your convenience, we'll take another jump.
So we've got to take a break. The only way to handle the temperature is frequent rests and liquids.
Will 10 minutes be enough?
Well, I suppose so.
Mr. Bonner, have steward sections issue whatever they have, juices, water. There's no point in saving it for any length of time. We have about 24 minutes of rocket time before the hull heats up to 60 degrees.
Is there any reasonable chance?
Mr. Broderick, we have tried dead reckoning from the records. But in hyperspace, we can't follow them accurately, not without Atlas. I'm timing the blasts from my pulse, because you can't trust reading a clock unless you can touch it. When we jump, I might as well be blind.
Easy. Get him back on the bed. Now, easy, Convoy, easy.
I got his arm.
There. I can't figure how he got out there. I saw him, but I thought it was a jump hallucination.
Easy, Mr. Gordon. Now, just lie back.
No, I can see.
Is that possible?
Oh, look at him, Mr. Lorch. His eyes are covered with bandages. He's blind.
Ten minutes is up, Captain.
All right. Secure for jump.
I had to assign 3 more men to each generator. The crew couldn't handle the manual clutch and the heat.
Very well. Proceed.
Chronometers wound and synchronized. Kerosene lamps lit. Navigator.
Aye.
Ready, Eklund?
Aye.
Index.
Proceed, Mr. Bonner.
Main circuit breakers open.
Stand by to jump.
Stand by to jump.
Straight up. 4, 3, 2, 1. Jump.
"30 seconds to full velocity, sir."
You never can get used to it. You can hear, you can touch, but your eyes lie. The photons and electrons that carry vision have some crazy mathematics of their own.
I know, sir.
I remember once I saw a row of monkeys sitting on the control console. I wondered what they were before hyperspace twisted them into monkeys.
10 seconds.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Now it seems as if I'm seeing Groden up here on the bridge, and I know very well he's down in sick bay asleep.
Captain.
Who's that? Lorch?
Yes, sir.
You're not on bridge watch.
Captain, he's really here. It's not a hallucination.
What are you talking about?
Groden. He's really here, sir.
Lorch, what's the idea of bringing him up here during jump?
I only brought him to the forward lock, sir. Then he brought me.
Broderick, is this some kind of heat exhaustion?
I'm telling you, sir. We went into jump, and I couldn't see anything that made sense. Just twisting shadows and lights, you know. But Groden took my hand and led me right up here along the passage.
He's blind.
Not in hyperspace. Not in jump. Then he can see.
Captain, I gotta get him to sick bay. He must be in intense pain.
Yes, it's painful, all right. But I can see the whole plan, the whole pattern. It makes sense to me now. I can see the stars and the ship and the Earth at the same time. The equations on hyperspace. I can see them the way you can see a triangle or a circle. I can see the Earth, and I can tell you how far it is.
Groden, you mean you can pilot us home?
Yes, I can.
All right, Mr. Groden. Take over this ship.
Number 3 pattern. Fire. Cut. Velocity. 563,748. Relative thrust. 7,867. Counterblast for 2 seconds. Pattern 657. Blast. Cut. All right. Hit normal space at mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Mark.
Look out, he's gonna fall.
Yeah, I've got him.
He saw. He saw in hyperspace. He navigated by line of sight in hyperspace.
We'll have to order a stretcher up. He's blind again.
Sun system, 239 degrees, 45 elevation. Magnified by 50 on forward screen.
That's not Saul.
No, but it's a place to land. There's a planet there. It's Earth normal. You can land and cool ship and replenish air.
Mr. Bonner, take her down to atmosphere. Have planetology section start to check it out.
Aye, sir. Ensign Lodge, report down to planetology. Engine room, landing routine.
Why didn't we hit Earth on the jump, Groden? Why?
Just as well, Mr. Broderick. If the planet checks out, it's a whole world for colonization.
Sure, but it'll be 2 weeks before you can replenish ship and catalyze fuel. There won't be any new eyes for Lieutenant Groden then. The optic nerves will be gone too far. He'll never have eyes again.
I knew that before I brought you up here.
Ready at last for skip deceleration in pit 3.
You mean, Groden, you could have brought us back to Earth?
In 2 jumps.
Then why didn't you? I can't allow a man to go blind because of phony heroics.
Do you want to know how many Sol-type systems there are within 5,000 light years? I can tell you. Want to know what the universe looks like in hyperspace? I can tell you that too. Only I can't describe it. The whole thing is as orderly and chartable as our own space. And I could see it, all of it. And you offer me eyes. Captain, we have a quadrant of hyperspace to chart. I can see during the jumps. Captain, I...
Look out. He's still in pain.
I can see to the end of the galaxy. And beyond.
I know. But in the meantime, Mr. Broderick.
Aye, sir.
When we take off again, Lieutenant Groden will be in command during jump. He will handle this ship, and at his direction we will chart hyperspace. But in the meantime, will you kindly lead him to his quarters?
You have just heard X-1 presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, which this month features Dead Ringer by Lester Del Rey, a fascinating story about a man who learned that there was nothing on Earth which could set him free, least of all the truth. Galaxy Magazine on your newsstand today. Tonight by transcription, X-1 has brought you The Map Makers, a story from the pages of Galaxy written by Frederick Pohl and adapted for radio by Ernest Kenoy. Featured in the cast were John Larkin, Ed Prentice, Bob Hastings, Tom Collins, Dick Hamilton, Burford Hamden, Raleigh Bester, and Carl Frank. Your announcer, Fred Collins. X-1 was directed by Daniel Sutter and is an NBC Radio Network production.
So, what did you think of the concept of a human brain being used as a navigational computer? At the time of the show's release, the idea of the equipment needed to do the calculations would have taken an entire building to house, if even possible. However, today, we all carry around a phone that could easily handle the job. It makes you wonder how we got where we are today. Truly a remarkable thing. I hope that you enjoyed today's story. I'd never heard this one before, and it was a pleasant surprise to me just how good science fiction was in the 1950s. If you want to hear more episodes of X-1, head on over to the Internet Archive. You will find them all there just waiting for you. Well, that was episode number 665, and these people made it happen. Samantha Grimm and Oliver Marshall. You guys are the best, and I loved your stories. If you want to follow the podcast or the blog, head to ronsamazingstories.com. There you will find any of the links I mentioned and how to contact us. Do you want to help the show? The best thing you can do is to tell your friends all about it, and please leave reviews or feedback wherever you listen. Clicking that follow or like button helps us grow. Thank you for listening, and I hope you come again to find out what are Ron's Amazing Stories.
All of the vintage audio used in the podcast is believed to be in the public domain. Ron's Amazing Stories does not own the rights to any of the old-time radio used here. If you hold the rights to any of the shows played, please contact us immediately at ronsamazingstories.com.